In September, my second daughter was born, and during labor, I survived what's called an amniotic fluid embolism. So that means amniotic fluid or a hair cell or a skin cell or something, some sort of cell from my daughter got in my bloodstream, and I had an anaphylactic reaction to it. So there's 2 phases to AFE. The first phase is like you go into cardiac and respiratory arrest, and then the second phase is what's called disseminated intravascular coagulation, or DIC for short. And essentially you're bleeding from every orifice, and the bleeding factors in your blood stick together, and then the clotting factors stick together. So you're just bleeding from everywhere, and it's quite common to have blood clots thrown throughout your body. So at the same time, I also suffered a stroke, and the doctors were talking about a kidney transplant because my kidneys started to shut down, and then also a double leg amputation because my legs were getting no blood flow. But thankfully, an amazing vascular surgeon was able to put in some stents and restore blood flow, so neither of those were needed, thank God. So yeah, it was a pretty whirlwind experience, and just kind of insane waking up and hearing everything that me and my daughter went through. So the stroke has impacted me probably the most. Sometimes I struggle with word recollection, like I'll forget what I'm saying, or mix up words, like, I don't know, say tree when I really meant to say grass, something like that. Or especially at the end of the day, I notice my speech slows down and I stutter like when I get tired. And I also get tired really, really easily. Like yesterday I was taking care of my daughter, and after an hour I just like had to sit on the couch and lay down and rest, because like I not only get physically tired, I get cognitive fatigue as well. So even like conversations can be tiring. So I just got approved for more PT, OT, and speech. So my goal, especially in PT in particular, is to get my endurance up. So like, I can, I don't know, maybe clean the house for an hour instead of like 20 minutes. So just like those building blocks. And then also so before I had my AFE, I was a stay-at-home mom. So another huge, like the end goal is for me to be able to take care of both my daughters at the same time, home by myself. So like I've been left home a few times with Chloe Ann for like an hour or 2, but other than that, like I haven't been left home with my 2-year-old at all yet. Just my daughters and my husband. Just the joy that I see on their face every day, like, is extremely motivating. And also my husband, like, he's working insanely hard. Like, he's working essentially like 3 jobs at once, between the kids, his full-time job, and then he has a couple contracting jobs that he's working as well. And like, he hardly sleeps. And that's not abnormal for him. He's a person that doesn't need a lot of sleep, but I can tell like it's still physically and emotionally draining for him. So it's hard for me to just sit back and not be able to help him more than I am right now. Taking it slow and realizing, like, even though I might feel like physically able to do something, that doesn't mean I really can do it. And just realizing that, like, I'm gonna miss out on a lot of things. And just last night we were hanging out with some friends, and I had to go home early because I was in so much pain. So yeah, just like learning to take it slow and really listening to my body, and realizing that it's okay for me to say no and say like, hey, I can't hang out right now, or I need to rest. And even like if my husband is home, like at first I used to push myself, and then I'd get exhausted, and then the next day I'd have a horrible day because I pushed myself too hard. So yeah, just taking it slow. Well, there's been several days that I've gotten dizzy, so the walker just like makes me feel more safe. And walking around and ambulating around the house. Also, it's allowed me to start cooking because it's hard for me to stand in one spot for a long time. Or like if I'm at the changing table, changing Chloe Ann's diaper, I'll sit down. And it just allows me to do more. Or like if I'm putting on my makeup, you know, I'll sit down in the walker to put on my makeup. So I just feel like, especially with cooking and like taking care of the baby, it's just allowed me to do more a lot sooner that I'm alive. I mean, the doctors told me I had a 1% chance of survival. And so when I had my first surgery, the doctors went to my husband and said, you know, she's doing okay, she's stable now, she's still in very critical condition, but at least we didn't have to put her on ECMO. And then they had to take me back to surgery. And when I came out, they did have to put me on ECMO. So my husband asked the doctor, like, okay, well, last time you said the next step was ECMO, so what's the step after that? And the doctor said, that's it. It's like, this is all we can do for her. It's up to her now. And actually, day, like, maybe 2 or 3, my husband said he felt like I was giving up. He said he felt like there was just kind of a look in my eye that I was just exhausted and just like wanted to die, essentially. So then he brought my daughter in to see me, and he said like that was when like I didn't get to hold her or like see her because I was on the ventilator and I couldn't really turn my head. Well, and I was really, really sedated. They had me on some hardcore drugs, but he said like it seemed like I still recognized that she was in the room, and you know, so I like to say her love saved me. Oh, probably staying home with Chloe Ann for an hour. Like I sent a picture to my whole family, like woo, like we're making the first milestone, and I think. Throughout this journey I've learned like you just really have to celebrate those little moments, because if you don't, you'll get so sad and you know just kind of down on yourself. And so yeah, that was a really sweet moment. I'm really thankful for CIL and giving me the walker. I mean, it's just been a huge help in making me feel safe in my own home, because coming home was really, really scary. I still felt really unsure of myself and walking around the house, especially since being home. Like I've had some days where I've gotten really dizzy or I'm in a lot of pain, so it just makes me feel safe having it here. And as far as like my experience in general, it's just been wonderful. It kind of feels like a family. And you know, like Gonzalo coming to my home and like bringing, like hand delivering the walker, like I feel like in this day and age that doesn't happen a lot. So it's nice like having someone like here and bringing it to me, and everyone I've spoken to on the phone, super nice, super professional. And you can tell that the people working for CIL really, really love their job and they have a passion for what they're doing.